All right, we welcome you back inside our WABA Whip Around. Rich Quinones here. We've banged out about 25 plus minutes, kind of recapping everything that transpired over the last several weeks of the WABA. You know, we love to do spotlights on players. And again, I'm going to probably get hammered for this. I'm a little biased towards the Spice because we already had a very good point guard in Chrissy Brown join us, and now we have her backcourt mate in Christina Young, who, oh, by the way, just erupted for 44 points. I mean, she was just a sniper, an assassin in that win against Atlanta. She's kind enough to join me for a couple moments. How are you?
I'm doing good. Feeling good off of that win and that performance. So everything is awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting too, right? Because a win kind of cures all, right? A couple of tough games to start the season against a very, I guess you can say strong, physically strong, and a team in Mississippi, the Queens. They got the height advantage, they got the bigs, and it's something that Chrissy and I were talking about. You guys are so guard heavy, predicated on the guard play. I thought offensively that game against Atlanta, we've only had a handful of games this season, but that was your best offensive as a whole, your best offensive performance of the season. I thought you guys were efficient from the floor. I thought Ava played well. You obviously had the big game. Chrissy played well. Lauren played well. Williams getting some big buckets as well. Everyone kind of contributed, and you guys were thin going in that game. So, talk a little bit about offensively. What did you see in that game against Atlanta that allowed you also to have the type of game that you did?
I think what I seen in that game was that I knew like going in, like thankfully, like our like Coach Rick, he had sent us like some of the film on the game. So we kind of seen that like I was like, oh, okay, these girls are gonna be bigger. So I knew going in like we were gonna have to shoot and be able to get up a lot of shots quickly because I was like, obviously they're gonna out rebound us and in those ways. So I was like, we have to try to beat them with the three. And I think when we were all together and we talked about it, we knew it was like, okay, we need to lock in on our shooting. And I think we also knew because we were smaller that we need to try to get a big lead
Yep.
fast. So I think coming in, like that's why I was like kind of guns a blazing, just be like, let's score, let's try to get to the free throw line a lot. Because if they're bigger, let's try to get like the whole team in foul trouble early. So that was kind of like the kind of the game plan and kind of what we just all talked about is like let's just let's just score at a high clip and kind of just be locked in on if you get the ball, we swing it to you, pass it to me. Like I was just in that mode of like knock it down, shoot it with a purpose. Like each shot, each layup, everything was just with a purpose and intent. So we can, have a chance because we were really, really trying to get a win after those two losses. So that's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
that's where I was
Eh,
at. Yeah.
listen, you play like it. The only thing I'll say this, right? You guys take that lead 31-23, and then defensively you kind of lock down in the second. I made a point, I mentioned it. There were a couple times where, you have such a quick release. Like you don't hesitate. You catch and shoot. Boom, boom, right?
Right.
And I saw a couple times when you guys had that 15, 16, 7 point lead. I even kind of said on the broadcast, you don't always need that quick shot because you're not playing from behind. And I saw a couple times where you were always bringing it up the floor. Then one possession, Ava brought it up the floor. I think it's after the Angels had like a little bit of a 7-2 spurt. I felt, around that sequence, not that you calmed down because you play with such high energy, but I thought you were a little more, uh, I would say, more judicious with your shot selection. Like you were also looking to penetrate and dish. But I also noticed sometimes that you love to cause the contact. You want to get that contact in the lane. Um, talk a little bit about that. Is it just your game where it's just I'm going to go a mile a minute, and if I can catch and shoot, I'm going to catch and shoot because a couple times you didn't hesitate, and these were clean looks, like uncontested looks. You found a way to just hang out on the perimeter. But for someone who hasn't watched you, describe your game a little bit and how a game like that against Atlanta benefits your skill set.
Yeah, so like basically the way I've always kind of trained like was just kind of having a quicker release because like obviously being like smaller a lot of
Yeah,
times playing with like guys you got to be able to shoot quickly. So understanding that and like playing with guys and getting that when I go play against like the girls, I know like getting it off quickly. And then to me my mode is like once I'm locked in, it's like you swing it I'm gonna hit it, especially because I'm looking and I know what needs to be done. Like I said, during the week, every day I kind of was doing so many shots and I was working on getting them off quickly, each spot, going around and just understanding to be I gotta be on it. I kind of knew going into it that I needed to pick up my energy and be in it. But I think what really was good about Atlanta was once I caught like the feel of like, okay, I can bring it down and I can kind of just like break people down as needed. That's kind of where once I seen that I could do that, it was just let me just stay confident in each shot from there.
7 of 9, by the way, from beyond the arc, 44 points, not to mention rebounds, assists. And oh, by the way, you turn the ball over just twice. You clean that up. Now, I do have to ask you, now this is nitpicky. I'm not picking on you, but I'm picking on
Mhm.
you, as we say, with love. Early on in the season, I noticed a couple turnovers under the basket. And I'm wondering, and I asked coach about that. Was that just in your mind, when you pick your foot up when you're under the basket where the line is the baseline? And I was like, what? I was like, is she picking her foot up? Is she stepping her foot on the floor and not realizing it? Like, I saw a couple turnovers. Was that just something that you were just trying to get the ball in quickly, or obviously it's been fixed, it's been remedied?
Yeah,
But I am
yeah.
curious to get your thoughts on that.
I think when that was happening, I was just moving. I feel like my brain might have been moving faster than the ball. So like I think that's what it was. And it was kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? I just kind of needed to like, hey,
Yeah,
settle
yeah,
down. You know what I mean? Like you kind of get like how we said about the high energy, that can also be a downside because you could be like overly antsy. And I
yeah.
think that was happened early on is like, okay. But once I went and watched back the film and I looked, I was like, what is that? Why did you do that? And then I saw I was like, just relax, like and get
Yeah.
it. And that's why you see me kind of pick that up and not have all those, little simple turnovers like in the like those two games.
Like, that's a pretty clean game, right? And the one thing I noticed too, when I even was speaking to you prior to the game, I was like, listen, put the ball on the floor. You see how some of these games are called, right? Especially when you're going against a team that has that type of height and you guys
Mhm.
are a smaller team. Put it on the floor, draw some contact. And, it's not like you guys got to the line a lot. You got to the line 21 times, but you were 15 to 21. And as I mentioned, from the floor, you guys shot 51% and you guys shot 59% from beyond the arc. So, when Ava's putting her on the floor, when they're kicking out, when Chrissy's doing the dirty work and kicking out, and you're right there, I think offensively, you've guys scoring spurts. I've noticed that. Like, you can go on a 7-0 run by yourself, a couple 3-pointers. Ava can go on a 5, 6, 7 point run. Chrissy can knock down back-to-back threes. Do you work on that offensively during practice? I know practice is very limited, but I feel as though you guys, the three, you kind of have a trust where everyone's going to be on the floor.
Right. So yeah, the times that we do get to like practice, because like it is kind of everybody does have like their schedule, so it's not always like where we get to, be all together. But I think when we are, like, we make sure, like, say we're shooting around, kind of like say if I'm rebounding or they're rebounding, we're kind of just like learning each other. And also from there, like learning, okay, Chrissy likes to shoot right there. Ava likes to maybe hit the mid range. She's gonna drive. So I think that's kind of we like built that with one another. Just like I think we be around each other the most. So having that time together, like and understanding, I think that's what you kind of see on the floor, that continuity together.
Yeah, listen, it was great. I think Brown had 16 and 11. Ava had, I think, 19 or maybe 20. And obviously, you were the player of the game in that win, 44 points, 9 rebounds, by the way, 7 of 9 from beyond the arc. You guys shot brilliantly. You also took advantage of them losing one of their bigs. But, you go into a game with only 6. And then I thought Williams did a tremendous job, the dirty work. Lauren chipped in. I feel as though if you added a couple players, you have a deeper bench. I mean, you guys, it's still early in the season, but you're logging 35, 36, 38 minutes. The way you play, like I say sometimes, like a blurb, the Energizer Bunny, the conditioning has to be there. When you don't have a bench, you guys are relied to basically play, 35. I think you came out for a couple minutes the other day. That was it. And then you came right back in, you hit the three, and then you had the last bucket for the 44th point. I mean, do you kind of pride yourself on being out there as much as possible?
I really do. I think like with, us being limited, like you said, and not really having a deep bench, is that, you could take that and you can sit here and like we can complain about it. But I just try to go in and make sure to just give my best. And I think also too with us not having a deep bench, it teaches me kind of like how to not like rest in points, but understanding like, okay, when to go push extra here and just learning like breath control. So that's why I do. Well, I want to be out there as much as possible. I want to be able to be everything to my team and to, to the last whistle.
Now, your background, you played overseas, yes, or you trained overseas?
I did. So I played for a team in Serbia, the ZK Verbis in Verba, Serbia. Before that I went to the academy out there, the personal basketball academy. Went there, and then from going there I went and I played for that team.
Interesting. Now, I was reading too, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong. Did you play in the tournament in Puerto Rico?
I did. Well, yeah, the Gamble Sports
Gamble
Management
Sports
Tournament.
Management,
Yeah,
yeah.
I played in there a couple years ago. Yeah. Um, with
And
Mr. Charles Gamble. Yeah.
what about high school and college? Now, you're from the West Coast?
No, I went play at Contra Costa College, and from here I went to high school here. I went to Terrellins Catholic High, and then I had went to LSUE, and then
Okay.
after LSUE I went to Contra Costa College, which is in Richmond, California.
Because yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Okay. So you played out there in California.
I did, yes.
What is I know where you guys are. I'm obviously on the East Coast, and I know it's different. East Coast is very guard heavy. I'm wondering how
Mhm.
the style of play was out west.
Um, I feel like the style of play out west is very, I want to say like fast paced, just kind of. I feel like here it was like more coming from the south. I feel like it's more, I don't want to say like gritty, but a little bit more. We kind of mix like the grit
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah,
like the finesse and everything. But out there, I felt like it was more shooting and finesse and just more, like more IQ. Not that it's not IQ here, but out there they're on it. But you got to think they grow up. There's like a lot more schools there, so you have to be very basketball savvy there. And like the pace and everything, and having a good shot and the conditioning and everything out there was like I just felt like it was quicker, and that's where kind of like the shot and stuff came from too, because coach would be like, "Hey, we have to." A lot of it was running gun, like for most of
yep.
the time I was in college, it was we running it
And
like.
that's why you probably got to like this style, this tempo in the league, right? Because the quarters are 10 minutes, but more importantly, you got to get the ball across the timeline in 7 seconds, right? And then all of a sudden, hey, you turn it over, then the two becomes a three, three becomes a four, red light. They take it basically same type of concept from the ABA, and that's why I think the game's a little wide open. I think it's perfect for your style because again, you get that rebound. You guys are out on the fast break. Is this your first season in the WABA?
This is my first season in WNBA.
Um, you know, I guess it's a loaded question. You know, are you using this as getting your reps in with the thought of going back overseas or maybe having an opportunity to play in the WNBA?
Yeah, that's exactly. I was really glad when we were able to get this team here because I do want to get the reps to go overseas and to the WNBA. I would love to get back over there, whether it's Serbia or Spain. I'd really like to go to Japan. Like I've been looking at some stuff there, but I'm open to both. Like I would like to go play overseas and also, maybe go to the Liberty or really just any team. But yeah, that's the goal for sure. Yeah.
That yeah, everyone's got different goals, as we always find out. You mentioned it's kind of like gritty, and I noticed that Mississippi, they've got bigs, and they like to they like to bang. And I thought the game against Atlanta started to get a little chippy. And when I was talking to Chrissy, I said, I know this year they're very adamant on not even opening your mouth when you're playing because you're going to get hit with that tee. And we saw it happen with Williams real quick. I mean, do you ever find yourself get a little frustrated and you got to settle yourself down a little bit because maybe overseas you're allowed to be a little more talkative. I don't know, but they've made it a point, prior to the season, sending the memo to all the teams that listen, no chatter, like just lock it up, zip it.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think what's good is that our coach had kind of told us. so that kind of prepare. But you still be in the game. You like, man. But I try, like you said, I try to just tell myself on the inside all that stuff, and it does get hard sometimes because sometimes you're like, man, that was like blatant, that right there should have been called. But you just try to keep it professional, and I think knowing that they're doing that, I just try to focus in on the team, try to stay positive, because let's not play into the refs or anything. Let's just play together and play our game no matter what.
Yeah, in the short amount of time, calling the games and watching you play, you remind me of like a baseball reliever. Like if they're on a hot streak, or say they give up a home run in the ninth, the next day they forgot about it already. Like, I can watch you sit there and you can go 0 for 4, but then all of a sudden you can go 4 for 5 your next, 5 shots. It's that. Where does that mentality come from? That shooter's mentality, I should say. Where does that is that something that's just kind of innate inside you, or is that something that was taught, or is that kind of like, yeah, you know what, I know what I can do, a little chip on my shoulder, I'm okay if I miss a couple shots, I'll be okay the next 3 or 4.
Right. Yeah. I think it's probably like a mixture of like all those things, but I think the main thing, at least for this season, is knowing that I have to shoot. If I don't shoot, everybody has their role on the team, but I know it's like if I don't shoot, we don't even have like a chance. And so I just be like, okay, like you said, if I miss four, well, I believe like I'm gonna make the fifth one. And then
Right.
I'm gonna make the sixth one. Just keeping that attitude to be like, you have to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
So, it's not, you can't make an excuse. You just have to shoot. The beauty of it is like the only way to get out of say a slump, or you just gotta keep shooting. So I just remember the work and then continue to shoot based off of the work I put in. You just have to always remind myself, like, this is what you did this day. Just remember how many shots you put up every day,
Yeah,
and
and
just
it,
take
it was
it shot by shot.
Yeah, it was part of when I was talking about my keys to the game. I thought coach was going to give you the green light. I basically was like, let her get a little spicy. Here's the green light. Let her shoot. Let her create. Let her put it on the floor. Ava. She's very decisive. She puts it on the floor. She's tough to guard with that left hand, right? And then Chrissy does the dirty work underneath, and then the 3-point shots. I just think you know it's unfortunate because, again, and you don't need to speak to this, you don't know if a player like, say, Deja McKinney is going to come back, but you guys can't worry about that. You have to play the hand you've been dealt. And, it's tough when you're only dressing six. If you add another body or two, maybe it does give you a little bit of a blow and a little bit of a rest, and it doesn't exhaust you guys. But I also believe it can be beneficial because it can kind of teach you guys how to bond quickly and trust each other.
All right.
Yeah. So I do have to ask you this. So let's see how well um, your teammates or your teammate. I'm going to ask you one question. That's it. This is it. This is not a one-on-one shot at the foul line, right? This. You got one shot late in the game, down two. You're going to chuck it from three. What what snack, what food of choice does your teammate Chrissy Brown have prior to the game?
Oh, prior to the game.
Oh, come on. She
Wait,
waits
wait. I'm
about
thinking of. Wait, was it like some crackers?
it.
Was that right? I'm thinking like I think she had some crackers when we were like when I was stretching on the side. I think she was eating some. Like, I think I seen her like laid out. She was kind of eating them. I think that's what it was.
Ritz crackers. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah, yep, yep. I didn't know if it was. I can't tell you if it was peanut butter or if it was cheese, but it's like definitely
no,
some
no, no. The
crackers.
bucket. Listen, the bucket counts. Do
Yeah.
I feel you are a full time player, a full time. You live in the gym. Is that is that accurate?
I would say for the most part, I try to bring a pillow with me. Try to if I can sleep in here, I would. Yes.
You have to. Is there? Um, is do you want to try to balance more in your life, or you're right now where you're at? You're like, hey, this is I have a passion for this. I want to do it. And, hell, if I want to stay in the gym for 10 hours, let me stay in the gym in 10 hours. This is what I want to do. Some people have to balance other things.
Yeah,
But is this something that, you wake up and you're living, breathing, and eating basketball?
I am because I feel like right now is like a big opportunity, and then I feel I'm feeling so good right now that I just want to stay in it,
Mm,
you know? So that's why I'm just like, as long as I'm feeling good and every day I feel like I'm really getting better and I'm just enjoying the process and enjoying playing in the league and being with my teammates, I just want to continue to be the best I can, like every
yeah.
single day.
Well, I think it's unique because I remember early on when you were posting and we connected on social, and I was like, man, I was like, I'm following you, and I said that'd be something if I get to call some of your games this season, and boom, here we are.
Right?
So, you know,
Yeah.
things happen for a reason. I've enjoyed watching you guys play. I've enjoyed watching you play, and I just you play with a lot of zest and a lot of passion and a lot of love for the game. And look, you're becoming quickly a I like to call them prolific scorers. Now don't get too cocky now. You can't go out every night and have 44, but you can probably get 30,
Yeah.
35, here and there. But
Right, right. Yeah, yeah.
and you
Right,
guys got
right.
a brutal drive this weekend, right? 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Augusta is very far. Yeah, yeah.
but it had to be nice to finally get a win and get a win at home. That's the thing, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. A home win is always to me. That's really like the best win. When you could do it in front of your crowd, your family, your friends. Like that was awesome. You know, no matter what happened on Sunday, that Saturday win was big, and we finally got to 100 points, so
Yes,
that was
that's
awesome
true.
too. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
it was just good. It was just a good win all the way around for everybody.
Yeah, I know Coach was thrilled. The effort was there, and listen, you're going to be Mississippi. Some teams are just you have issues. Try to get over the hump. Sometimes you got to battle, and they've got some players. But I look at you guys and say you guys are due, and I believe you're going to win a handful of games. And who knows? I'm not sure how they structure out with the divisions and the playoffs. But all you can do is take care of business. You just take care of the team that's in front of you. That's all you can do.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah.
Listen, before I let you get out of here, so I already asked your backcourt mate about, her. We already know about the Ritz crackers. Is there any type of, do you have any type of routine prior to the game or after the game? Is there anything, athletes are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
Are you one of those creatures of habit?
The only thing I could say I try to do before every game is that I normally don't eat. I try to eat like 4 hours before, but I've been noticing when I have good games, it's like when I've just eaten like fruit. So normally it's like a banana, a peach, and then like some grapes
Okay.
and like a body armor. And for whatever reason, when I do that, I'm not saying I like obviously this is my first 44-point game, but normally it's like in the past and stuff, it's like okay, those it's always be good games, you know, at least 20 to 25 from
Did you
that regiment. So it's like I trust those fruits. Like
Well, hey, you got to. Hey, you're growing. You got to have those fruits, right? Well balanced diet, so to speak. What was the best game you had in Serbia?
the best game I had in Serbia was 22 points. I had 10 rebounds, 5 steals, and then 4 assists.
My
That was
goodness.
like because out there it was like it the coach when he brought me there he really mostly brought me there as a point guard, so
Mm.
I really was mostly a facilitator. So the fact that I was able to get that off was good because he really told me he was like you're here to make sure everybody else is better, like to get them right. And I was like that's fine coach, I could be a PG, you know, whatever
Yeah.
you need me to do. So that's why that was a good game. But I thought it was good because I was able to still get my assists and I was able to work on other things too. Sometimes when you're not scoring, it
Yep.
opens up your vision. And I
Yep.
think it made me a better defender and stuff too. Because there's other stuff I had to learn how to do outside of just scoring, which that's like my first thing. But having to be a PG, which I could play PG, but being there, it made me kind of pick it up even more because I had to study. I had to be able to break things down, had to understand like this is how my teammate likes to catch the ball right here on the low left
Yep.
hand side to the bigs, you know. So all of it was good. All of it was, you know, a
Yeah,
learning experience for
you're
sure.
definitely you definitely look to uh, go to the rim first and foremost, right? And then it's
Yeah.
almost like dishing is secondary as opposed to. So I look at you as a scoring guard. Like if need be, out of necessity, you're going to break him down and you're going to look for the drop off or to try to find the open teammate. And that's the other thing, you know. breaking down defenses now, all of a sudden when they start to maybe try to pull you out to perimeter and you can break them down, if they converge in the lane and you can kick it out, you got your teammates that are knocking down shots. It's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Do I converge with her? Do I stay back? Do I wait for weak side help? Defensively, we always say you got to make the right the right slide, the weak side help. You have to double the right spot. But if you're breaking down these defenders like you are, and then you can kind of pick and choose, right? Pick your poison. Am I gonna kick it out to perimeter? That's the one thing I like when you guys get really good spacing on the floor and everyone starts to touch it. You'll eventually find the open player will show themselves. I've
Right.
noticed that because some of your looks, you, Ava, and Brown, and even to some extent, the role players, even going inside to Williams, who had really nice game, did a lot of dirty work that doesn't show up in the box score. I feel as though you guys figure out a way to get open and you knock down uncontested shots, you guys are going to be good to go.
Right. Oh yeah.
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 So all right. Well, listen. You scored 100 on that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I asked you one question. You knocked it out of the park. You knew that your team. She literally specifically said, "Ask her, ask her." She will know it's Rich Crackers. And then somehow we got on. She knows Chili's meal 23.95. She knows it like clockwork. So
Yeah, yeah, she's a Chili's girl for sure, for sure.
yeah. Well,
You can-
listen, you guys have been fantastic. Do you want to, if you want to push anything, social media, people want to follow you, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. If everybody wants to go follow my IG that's on here, Christina Oracle Young. I would love your support. I'm gonna be putting out more content, start putting down more breakdowns of just our plays and stuff. And if you want to go follow our Louisiana Spice WNBA team, that'll be good too. Go Spice.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. She was a little
Yeah.
sugar and then all spice with 44 in a big time
Yeah.
win. All right, my friend. I'm not going to hold you. Go rest up. I appreciate you joining me on this edition of WABA Whip Around. Good luck traveling on the road. I look forward to getting on the call when you guys get back. But I definitely appreciate a couple of moments. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you. Have a good night.
You
All
too.
right. Bye.